What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I've been trying to slowly move off this conversation about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder and these contract negotiations that have stopped. But as we know, we entered after after Alexander Povetkin and Anthony Joshua agreed to fight, and after the what I believe to be a phony 24-hour deadline, Joshua fans started this chant called "Sign the contract, sign the contract, sign the contract." Hey, can Deontay Wilder find a pin? That whole line, man. Now, I find it real funny, especially because Shelly Finkel just came out with some information, which just shows you that if you believe Shelly Finkel, now I do not by any way, shape, or form expect the people that are running around talking about sign the contract, sign the contract, sign the contract. I do not expect them to believe Shelly Finkel. Because shoot, they don't even believe Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua says that he don't want the fight. They don't believe Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn says he's got an 8-fight plan and Deontay Wilder ain't on it. So to hear Shelly Finkel say something, I don't expect you guys to believe it. But, man, it is funny. It is funny. It's funny to me. Now, before I go into that, I want to thank everybody for watching the video. Subscribers, the people that have subscribed and watch all the videos, thank you very much for doing so. To the people that are watching the video that aren't subscribed, thank you for tuning in. And I would invite you to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can know when we release more videos. Also, I want to thank everybody that participates in the live streams that we do on a daily basis, usually in the morning. And through the Venmo and the super chats, man, the Venmos are super appreciated. Super chats are super appreciated. Thank you very much for all you guys do to support the channel and help the channel grow and to help us with the cause that we're established to help out with. So thank you guys very much. Now, let me go through a little bit of this article where Shelly Finkel is responding to Anthony Joshua, where Anthony Joshua says that he is 100% confident on Wilder being for April. All right, and this is with World Boxing News, so shout out to World Boxing News. The article is by Phil J. And so let me go through this, and I'll tell you the part that I think is really, really funny. It said, addressing Joshua's latest comments, Finkel said, I'm happy that he said the fight will 100% happen because Deontay wants to fight if the conditions are right. But what we need now is to see the terms of the deal. If everything has been addressed and all the impediments have been taken out of the last contract, then we can begin to see where we stand. Asked whether it was solely the TV side of things and the rematch clause holding up the agreement, Finkel replied, the TV deal on the UK side of things is not an issue, but we need those original points addressed before we can look at making a deal or not. This is the part that's funny. We haven't heard from Eddie or anyone from Team Joshua since they decided to fight Alexander Povetkin on September 22nd. The signed portion of the contract they say exists, we haven't seen yet. Until we see the new contract, there's nothing else we can do. We just need them to show us the new deal so Deontay can agree to the fight in April at Wembley. Until then, there's nothing else we can do. Make no mistake, Deontay wants this fight to happen. So, the funny thing is, we need Deontay Wilder to sign. Just sign the contract. Anthony Joshua signed his portion of the contract. Sign the contract. Sign the contract. They never gave him the contract. According to Shelly Finkel, they've never received it. So even if there was something that was signed by Anthony Joshua, they never put it in the mail. So what are you guys waiting around on a signature for? This has been one PR stunt after another one on the part of Anthony Joshua. Now, I already knew that signing the contract was a PR stunt, right? Because Deontay Wilder already said, look, if the fight wasn't for next, all those terms are off the table. So since all those terms are off the table, if you want to start another negotiation, hey, reach out to me and we can go on about it and do it. We can start the negotiation, but we're going to start a new negotiation, right? We're not going to take just some piece of paper you wrote and sign it. But to hear that Eddie Hearn is talking about Deontay Wilder needs to sign the contract, Deontay Wilder needs to sign a contract, Anthony Joshua saying, I signed my part of the contract, we're just waiting on his signature. To hear that not only did they have that phony approach, right, which is to sign your own contract that somebody else turned down and expect them to sign it, right? We're having a conversation about why he would sign it. But then to find out that they never even sent it, you know you're not waiting on a signature for a contract that you haven't sent yet. Man, I'm telling you. Every time Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua have come up with some craziness, some type of reason to put the pressure on Deontay Wilder, they wind up having something coming out where what they say isn't quite what they put it out, what they lead you to believe. But that's what you get when you deal with a chronological liar, like he lies all around the clock. That is true. But I meant a pathological one where he does it just without thinking. And it's something you can expect. Like if Eddie Hearn tells you water's wet, hey man, turn the cup over and make sure, feel it and make sure it's wet. Because you just can't believe anything comes out of this dude's mouth on face value. At least as far as it goes to Deontay Wilder. I'm sure there's some things with his kids and, if he's got some kids paying their school bills or something, people can trust him to do that. I'm sure. Not completely untrustworthy in all areas of life. I can't attest to that. But as far as this whole negotiation thing going on, Eddie Hearn has been telling story after story after story. So the fact now that he says that they're waiting on a contract and they never sent it, just lets you further know what's going on. But another thing that was interesting that I liked, that I noticed in the phrasing of what Shelly Finkel said was he deflected the question. Now, see, this is something where Shelly Finkel's not lying, but Shelly Finkel's not answering the question, right? This is the type of thing that I noticed from Shelly Finkel. Because I do agree, Shelly Finkel, hey, you gotta listen to what people say and make sure that they're consistent in what they say. And with Shelly Finkel, yeah, you do have to check and make sure he actually answered the question that you put to him. And if he gives you a non-answer, then you got to evaluate that non-answer. In this question that was asked of Shelly Finkel, he gave a non-answer, which I think illustrates one of the points that might be holding up, one of the points of contention that I'm sure he believes that he wants to see addressed. And that is this sentence right here. The TV deal, as to whether it was solely the TV side of things and a rematch clause holding up the agreement, Finkel replied, the TV deal on the UK side of thing is not an issue, but we need those original points addressed before we look at making a deal or not. So the TV side of the UK side of things, the TV deal on the UK side isn't an issue. Well, what other side is it? The TV deal on the United States side of it could be an issue. And what is the TV deal on the US side of it? That's the DAZN part. That's where Eddie Hearn is going to want, and I believe, where Eddie Hearn is going to want Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder on DAZN, which, and from what I understand, at least from what I see, not having heard, that's a non-starter. That's a non-starter. Deontay Wilder has been on Showtime for years now. I know he originally was on HBO, and he was on HBO when he was with Golden Boy Promotions, because Golden Boy Promotions was his original promoter before all those fighters broke off from Showtime. I mean, from Golden Boy and went with the PBC on a managerial basis. That's going to be a holdup. Anthony Joshua's fighting on DAZN in the U.S., and if they want to have Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua on DAZN, that's not fair any way, shape, or form for Deontay Wilder. Because Deontay Wilder, and especially if you're offering a flat fee, but what you're trying to do is use what he's trying to do is use Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder to grow the subscriber base on DAZN, which allows Eddie Hearn to make fight money off of other fighters and other fights that are on DAZN. So Eddie Hearn, who gets paid, per fight, because every cut of that licensing fee that's paid for a fight, Eddie Hearn's going to get paid off that too. And the more subscribers that you have to DAZN that watch that, the bigger, the more, those all are associated with those licensing fees. So if he gives Deontay Wilder a flat fee and puts him on DAZN in the United States, that's a lose for Deontay Wilder because he doesn't get any pay-per-view. He doesn't get any pay-per-view or any cut of the licensing fees from DAZN. He's just getting paid a flat fee. And it's a big enough fight where they might want to do an experiment and try to run a pay-per-view in the early evening. So anyway, man, it's just a big mess. But the biggest, well, I guess I can't say it's exactly a mess. I don't believe Anthony Joshua wants to fight. I don't believe Eddie Hearn wants to fight. I believe Deontay Wilder does want to fight. And this is just as far as what Shelly Finkel said right here about, we haven't heard from Eddie or anyone on Team Joshua since they decided to fight Povetkin on September 22nd. And the signed portion of the contract they said exists, we haven't seen yet. So, just another, apparently, but I wouldn't doubt that right after Eddie Hearn says this, that Shelly Finkel says this, that Eddie Hearn will say, okay, well, we knew you weren't going to sign it. You said you wouldn't sign it, so we'll stick it in the mail today and then address it after the fact. But anyway, it is what it is. Whole thing is a mess. And with that, I'm out. Peace.